talking glass and Halloween. Yes? So let's start with glass. Now, yes. The first panelist I'd like to bring out needs no introduction, but he deserves one. He is a screenwriter, producer, director, and the creator of thought-provoking thrillers like The Sixth Sense, Signs, The Village, and the film that reignited the superhero versus villain trend, Unbreakable. I'm talking about M. Night Shyamalan! You're right here. So I get you all on myself a little bit, which I'm really excited about. We are all obsessed with the superhero and villain movies that are everywhere these days, and you kind of brought that renaissance back with Unbreakable. Can you tell us the inspiration for this trilogy and tell us about your journey from Unbreakable to Split to now Glass?
Thank you guys. Wow, it's so exciting to be here. I've been dreaming about being in this hall forever.
Yeah!
I live in Philly, and so I hear about Hall H. This is like, this is the Mecca right here. Unbreakable, when Unbreakable came out, it was kind of a weird moment for me. I remember like the 29, 30-year-old version of myself lying on the sofa after it opened, and there was kind of a mixed reaction to the movie. And I think they were expecting a sequel to Sixth Sense or something, because me and Bruce were doing a movie together. And it was very kind of, I don't know, disheartening a little bit, because I was thinking that this would have been a really cool thing, a thriller comic book movie. And I remember this is a real moment that happened. I remember as we were talking about marketing the movie, I was on a conference call with the studio, and they were saying, we can't mention the word comic books or superheroes because it's too fringe. And it's those people that go to those conventions. That was literally a quote.
Wow. That's us, everybody.
And I was like, oh. And they're like, we're just going to avoid mentioning that in the campaign. So I was like, well, that's what the movie is. And it was one of those kind of weird moments of feeling like the subject that I was making, would that be interesting to the broader population, which is obviously fascinating given what's happened since then. Yeah. And so I went on and made a lot of other movies, and then I decided to make smaller movies, contained movies. And then I remember that I had this idea. Basically, the Kevin Wendell Crumb character from Split was in the script of Unbreakable, and it just wasn't. It was just too unwieldy. It was, it was so many characters, and all you wanted to do was learn about this guy who had all these personalities. So I pulled him out and made it about this man befriending this other man and asking him this question, how many days of your life have you been sick?
Yes.
And I got to focus on that, and I took those pages out. And then when I was doing these smaller contained movies, I did The Visit, and I actually came here to Comic-Con to show it. And I thought, well, maybe I could do that movie, do Split, and maybe ask Disney if they'd let me do something special at the end. And if it worked out, maybe we'd be here. And so I did do that. I did. I made Split, and Disney was amazingly gracious and let me do that scene at the end with their character. So it was amazing. And then we came to Glass, and really the most unusual thing you can imagine, where two studios were, just doesn't happen. I don't think this will ever happen again, where two studios had two different IPs that they completely owned. And I said, can we make a sequel to both and you guys share it? And they said yes.
They said for you.
So for you. Insane. I just can't, I'm so lucky to be here really on every level from you guys, because at each level, even Unbreakable, it was you guys that embraced it and really understood it and connected with it, and then everybody else caught up to you guys, and Split as well. So I'm just so happy to be here.
We get Glass. Yay! Okay, what's your all-time favorite Comic-Con memory?
Well, that one's a really easy one, because I came here for The Visit, and we went to one of these parties here, and I was standing there, and I'd written Split, but I didn't know who in the world could play this part, and James McAvoy walks by me, and I grab him, and I go, hey, I love your stuff. And he's like, hey, I love your stuff. And he had just come back from X-Men, and his hair was like, 3/4 of an inch long. And I was like, this is the guy, and this is how he should look in the movie. We should do wigs, we should do makeup, he should just do it with expressions. And literally, so Split was created right here at Comic-Con, which is...
I wonder if you'll do me a huge favor and introduce this amazing cast that you have and bring them out.
Yeah.
I just have to say one thing though. James couldn't make it because he was sick.
He's sick, you guys.
Really, really sick. And I've been on the phone with him and texting with him, and we tried to get him here from Canada where he's shooting, and he's really, really bummed. And I know he would have been here if it wasn't something super serious. So I hope he gets better. I hope you all wish him getting better. And but I do want to introduce some of the other cast members that are here. First, let me introduce Anya Taylor-Joy. And then I was super, super lucky to add a new cast member to our third movie here, Sarah Paulson. And then this was kind of a very, very special thing to me because basically he's been my big brother and he was the first guy that really believed in me and gave me a chance on The Sixth Sense. So I want you all to welcome Bruce Willis.
Yeah! All the way!
And then I was Bruce. And the last person I want to bring out is the title character. I think we all know him, the hardest working man in Hollywood,
Yes.
Sam Jackson.
Sorry, I was having a fan moment. I had to get my own picture. Okay, hey Sam. Hi Sam.
Hey.
When filming Wrapped on Glass, Knight tweeted that he had to fight back tears because these are more than movies to me, he said. So what is so special about Mr. Glass to you that you said, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play this role again?
I just love the complexity of Elijah. I love, that he has his mom that understands him, knows who he is. I love that he's extremely strong character who has this really fragile body, but his mind is so
Strong.
And that he has a belief that's stronger than anything anybody can take from him.
Yeah.
So I just love being there. And he's quiet.
Yes. He is quiet. He's always.
It's unusual. See, I don't actually play the same motherfucker all the time.
Those keeping count, that's our first.
I like the loud one. Yes.
It's the first mother effer of the movie. There'll be at least 5 more. Mr. Willis. Yes, give it to him. How did Knight entice you to join Split for that surprise at the end? Did you guys talk about Glass during the time between Unbreakable and Split and all that? And was he keeping it a surprise for you later? Like, what made you decide?
Sadly, I am bound to a lead pipe cinch that I really can't share anything. But there are a lot of secrets in this movie that have not been exposed. Right, Knight?
That's true. I taught them not to tell too much.
I think you can tell us one.
No, he can't.
No, he can't.
But Bruce was really, basically I just called him and asked him. I said, hey, I have this movie Split I'm doing, and at the end, would you do this scene in this diner? And he came right away, and we just did it one afternoon. Super gracious of him. He literally just came and did it for nothing, and everybody just did it, and it was we did it quiet. We did it for nothing. Literally everything I'm saying is not realistic, but that's just what.
Yeah.
This came, it's just a sweet, sweet guy. He's always been a big brother.
Oh. Yeah.
I had a couple of bad nights for himself, and he didn't quite know whether I should answer the question or don't answer. But Knight asked me will you do it? And I said, yes.
I love it. Sarah? Hi, Pumpkin.
Hi.
Yeah, exactly.
We love her and everything. I heard you have some interesting shooting stories. There were some things that happened in a cold hospital, and
It was the coldest place that I've ever been in my life. But it was actually helpful to me a little bit because, I mean, it literally was like a mile to the bathroom inside this place. And
wow.
We would sit between takes, there was no heat, and but it was good for my brain because I spent a lot of time trying not to have panic, that I was, you know, there's one particular scene where I'm sitting in a room in this hospital with 3 of the most iconic characters that have been on film, you know, with Knight looking at me, telling me what to do and things, and I was going, I can't believe this is happening to me. So the cold was quite a good distraction.
Good distraction.
Yeah. So like pulling the stockings down for the peeing was not my favorite day, kids. It was not my favorite day.
Was it a choice to make it so cold? They have heaters.
He's, you know, Knight's tough. He likes to put us through our paces.
We shot in she's leaving out some details.
Sorry.
It was an abandoned mental hospital.
Yes, it was a mental hospital.
So it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't active, and so we were, you know, the state allowed me to.
Yeah, and he was like, I could make it warm in here, space heaters, but no.
I love you. Anya, hi, honey. What I love about your character, Casey, is that when we meet her, she's wounded, but she's a survivor who refuses to give up, and ultimately, she's standing toe-to-toe with the beast, and he earns his respect. So, where do you find that inner resolve as an actress, and how is it to play off of James McAvoy's beast?
I mean, it's amazing. He's so incredible, and he brings so much to every single character that you really feel like you're working with somebody different each time. But I don't know where I find the inner resolve to play Casey, because I think Casey's amazing. You know, I think she kind of exemplifies all the traits that I wish I had, and she's somebody that I aspire to be like.
Yeah.
But I have to say, you know, Knight wrote such a beautiful character, and it was such a pleasure, genuinely, to be able to come back and play her again and kind of show the end of her story, or like, you know, the continuation story.
I think it's time for us to see.
William's kind of ability to kind of go into other characters with full empathy, and when you guys get to see what he did, it's very, very special. And again, these guys are like, these guys are the ones that introduced me to making movies. I get emotional just talking about all of you guys here. So thank you so much, you guys. So with regard to what we're going to show, so look, we had I'm going to show you the trailer, and you guys, we had the opportunity to put this trailer on some of the biggest Marvel movies that that exist, and we made the decision. I felt very strongly that you guys should be the ones. That see it first. It was always meant for you guys, this whole series, and it was it's a big deal that who you show it to first, and then it's yours forever, and you take it and it's yours, it's not ours anymore. So guys, here you go, here's the world premiere, the trailer.
That's amazing, and I'm happy to be up here with you all. Okay, we're gonna go to questions. We have time for 2. Anybody lined up? Where's the audience section? Yes! Hi, Monkey, what's your name?
What's up, Sam Jackson?
What's up?
Hey!
Not Sam Jackson, sorry, I should.
We just got excited. What's your question, honey?
My question is, will this movie be R-rated?
Yes.
No, I'm going to try. I try to get right on that edge of PG-13 and R, just for the intensity, and calibrate it back. A lot of times it's almost sound effects that tip it back into PG-13, but that's the goal, is PG-13. Thank you for asking.
And our second question?
Hello. So I'm from Philadelphia, and I know the Philadelphia Film Office works in many ways. How does the office help when working with major actors like Bruce and Sam?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, look, I love shooting in Philly simply because of the authenticity of being able to shoot at home. And Bruce is from New Jersey, and I do think the sensibilities are slightly different from where you are in the country and how you perceive storytelling and where your leans are. So it's really just a special thing for me to shoot in Philly and have these guys kind of come to Philly and make it their home, and we've brought them here multiple times and all. By the way, we're gonna do one more question.
Yeah, two more.
Yeah, that'd be great. And the people that are asking questions are gonna get a very special thing. If you come up to the front, I think there's a poster that Alex Ross and I did specially for Glass. So it's absolutely amazing, and you guys get it.
Yeah, you guys want this. I actually want it too. Go ahead, Henny. Hi.
Hi, how's it going, guys? My quick question is, since this movie is about superpowers, originally, what superpower do you guys want? If you had to pick one. Plus, I love you guys, Bruce. You guys are superpowers.
Teleportation!
Teleportation, Sam says.
I second that. Teleportation.
I go mind reading.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Mr. Willis?
Willis, Bruce.
If you had a superpower.
What would be your superpower?
Probably to be Bruce Willis.
He's already got it.
Good superpower.
That's a good one. He's got it.
Extreme strength.
Ooh, nice.
AKA be Bruce Willis.
Okay, our last question. Go ahead, sir.
Hi,
Oh, baby.
I'm Night. I love your movies.
Thank you.
Sixth Sense got me into film. They're all great.
That's
I
so
love
sweet, thank you.
My question was, what kind of films are you looking to make? Like horror films like Split, or is it, or more adult superhero movies like Lady in the Water, The Village?
Oh, well, thank you. That's such a sweet question. Look, for me, it's always a struggle because I'm trying to do two types. I'm trying to do these kind of intimate, character-driven movies that are rides, that are genre. And so I have to please both because for me, the characters are so important, but that balance in the editing room to get how long can I stay and work on the characters and tell that story, and with the pressure of the ride, it's a really tricky one to do. My wife always says, why don't you pick one or the other? You do the drama, do like the A drama, or go do the ride. And I really, the movies that I fell in love with, like even E.T. and all these, they did
Had a
both.
bit of everything, yeah. Do you have any final teasers? I'm not trying to be greedy. Yes, I am. Anything that you can give us? Anything. Give us something.
What I can say is, I got a lot of questions with you before about, what's different about our movie than all these other comic book movies, and honestly, I'm trying to separate myself when I say this, that the reason to come see the movie is the performances from the people here and James McAvoy. They're world-class performances, and I'm very, very lucky, and you guys, I think, will agree when you see it. It's jaw-dropping when they bring that kind of specificity and entertainment that they bring to the table that only these icons can do. So I think it's going to set it apart for us. And James in particular, you'll get to see him. The little tidbit could be that right now in the editing room, he does 21 personalities in the movie.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's not for James.
That just blew my mind. I don't know if nobody else is blowing mine. It blew mine.
Murphy does that all the time.
All right, well, guys, this has been a wonderful opportunity for us to find out about Glass. Thank you so much for the panel coming, and thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I want to remind you that Glass hits theaters January 18th, 2019. Go see it. It's going to be amazing. Thank you, guys.
Down on whatever he's drinking. Sam is getting wasted backstage. They're like orange juice dude. See, she's just replacing the name. She gotta put the Jamie Lee Curtis one out. They gotta go to Conan. Huh? They gotta go to Conan. They're gonna be on Conan tonight. Oh, really? Yeah. That starts filming at 5, so they gotta go head over there. I know. That's so adorable.
If I can give him, I will. Hi, guys. Okay, listen.
That makes
You
me go
saw
like
me
this.
do that because
I go
we're
like this.
moving along. We're moving right on to the next thing that Universal wants to tell you about. We are about to continue with the iconic Halloween. So please join me in welcoming its creators and its star. You guys ready back there? Yeah? No? Yes. Okay. First, you've loved him since his Paranormal Activity became the most profitable film of all times. Please welcome welcome prolific producer Jason Blum. Hey, Jason. This handsome too, you guys. Okay, this next gentleman brought you the last 5 installments of the Halloween franchise, and we thank him. Please welcome Malek Akkad. That is so handsome. Okay, our next panelist brought you Pineapple Express, the sitter at HBO's Eastbound and Down.
Yeah.
The producer and director, David Gordon Green. I think I did my names backwards. You're right here. Yes. I do. Oh, that's what. Jason, you're a Jamie C. Jason. That's what happened. He was drawn to me, everyone. He was drawn to me. And last but never least, this phenomenal woman has a resume that includes hits like True Lies, A Fish Called Wanda, and the franchise.
Bring that yogurt
Please
out.
welcome the original Scream Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis. You better show it. Strut, strut, strut. Yes. She's right here, you guys. Okay, let me get myself together. Let me be professional. Hi, Jamie. How are you? I loved hearing about your reaction when you first read the script. Can you tell us why you chose to return as the beloved Laurie Strode after 40 years?
Well, you know, Laurie Strode was 17 years old when she was brutally attacked by Michael Myers.
Yes.
A random act of violence that stayed with her her entire life. This is a girl who 40 years later never had any mental health services. I'm not joking. There, you know, she had a small cut on her arm and that was it. And she was raised in the Midwest. I'm sure they sent her back to school 2 days later. And yet she has carried the trauma and PTSD of someone who was attacked randomly.
Yes.
And what was so interesting about the movie that David and company wrote is that what they're honoring today is that that trauma, there comes a point where you say, I am not my trauma.
Come on.
I am not, the narrative of my life is not that I am a victim. And this is a woman who's been waiting 40 years.
That's right.
The person who she knows is coming back to say, I am going to take back the legacy of my life. I'm going to take back my narrative, and you don't own me anymore. And that, weirdly enough, seems to be a bit of a thing in the world today. I don't know if any of you watch, I know you're nerds, but I don't know if any of you watched the ESPYs the other day when all of those women stood on that stage while that MF, and there are kids in the audience wearing Luigi and Mario hats, so I'm not saying what I really want to say.
Sam Jackson didn't
Rots in prison. Those women stood there and said, you do not control our narrative anymore.
Yes. Come on.
And that is why I am sitting here today in this great hall age in a movie for David Gordon Green, because he wrote a character who is saying, I am taking back my narrative.
Listen.
Nice.
Good night, everybody. No, listen, I didn't know we were going to have church today. That's wonderful. I got all
Hey, baby, it is Freaky Friday.
David, hi. How insanely nervous were you to pitch the idea for this film to the master himself, John Carpenter? Tell me everything about that.
I was very, very nervous. My own childhood trauma was at a 7th grade sleepover party when some jerk played the movie Halloween.
Yes.
And I got so scared that I called my mom to come get me. So that I was trying to face my demons. So we came up with the idea. I got a nice email from Jason saying, "What do you think about the Halloween franchise?" Of course, it's a formidable horror film. I'm a huge movie nut, and that became, in my youth in cinematic education, the pinnacle of horror. So, taking this idea with Danny McBride and Jeff Fradley, my co-writers that I went to film school with, they lived down the hall from me in the dormitories in North Carolina, and it was just a dream come true. So we're going to meet him one morning with Jason, and we go over to his house, and he opens the door and says, "What's your story?" So for me, it was incredible. We sit down, and there's like Starman posters on the wall, and literally I'm freaking out of this environment. We tell him the story, give him our pitch. He has a few questions. We have a few questions about of what he thinks, because we want to run some ideas by him. It was really important to us that he be involved, that we write a great role for a great actress, and that we bring John into the game and be a part of the creative conversation. That was just really important to me. In the middle of the pitch, his phone goes off, and it's the iconic theme from Halloween is his ringer. And I was playing it pretty cool until that happened, and then I lost it. But so it was really fun. We had a great conversation, and he said, "Okay, I'm in." He was nodding. He's like, "I like the idea." And then we said, "But we also want you to do the music." And he smiled and he said, "What kind of music?" I said, "Well, ideally it would be the Halloween music, plus maybe a little slice of Christine, and maybe a little splash of Big Trouble in Little China." And he got a kick out of that. We hugged it out a little bit and said, "Let's go make a movie."
Love that. Thank you for sharing. Malek, hi.
Hi.
Your company, Trancas, has, I hope I said that right. Did I say that right? Trancas. I was so close, you guys. I was in the back, right? Trancas, right? Okay. Can't do everything right. Has produced the Halloween franchise from its inception. What did your family see in Michael Myers all those years ago, and why do you think it still resonates and terrifies all of us?
Wow, I just want to say I'm geeking out so hard. The first and last time I was at San Diego Comic-Con was 1976.
What?
Wow. I was 7 years old, and there was about 300 people, so it's grown a bit.
And now?
It's grown a little bit.
8,000 friends.
And to think that 42 years later, I would be on this stage with these three amazing filmmakers presenting a film that I'm so excited about, and the fans are going to absolutely go crazy over, is just surreal.
Yeah.
So happy Halloween, San Diego. Yes. But to answer your question, I mean, anybody's guess is as good as mine. Michael Myers, because it's that face, and you can sort of put anything of your worst imagination into that blank canvas. It's and maybe that's over intellectualizing. So I'll say he is just the coolest and the baddest and the most terrifying killer in Hollywood cinema.
Yeah, I agree. Jason.
Hello.
This is Laurie's big, possibly final confrontation.
Never say
Michael
final.
Myers. Never
You just tried to do the mind.
I did. You see, I tried to do the little Jedi mind trick. I was like, okay. So this film could essentially reset the entire series. How freeing is that for you as a producer?
That was really more, I loved Halloween, and I was really excited to do the next version of Halloween, but I had really no idea what that was. And I approached David, and David kind of came up with this idea of giving a nod to the other movies, but really taking what happened in the first movie, the best movie, and jumping off and saying what would happen 40 years later. That was really an idea that David and Danny came up with, and my involvement was, I told them I loved it.
I love that answer. Jamie, Laurie is a very different woman now than people might assume. Tell me about where we find her and what she's been through since that fateful night.
Okay, I have one thing to comment on
get in
about
there,
what
girl.
Malek was talking
Get
about.
in there.
Well, no, I'm listening.
Do it.
Part of a job of an actress
Is to
listen. Not just take pictures of yourself.
That's true. That's
there's nothing wrong with that.
She said just take pictures.
I actually think what's terrifying is random acts of violence. And I think what made Michael Myers so terrifying was its randomness.
Right.
Here he was, this terrifying physical creature, and he said in this enigmatic mask, but it's the randomness. It was a small town, this beautiful life of these young girls talking about boys and dreaming, just like all of our, we hope, the childhood of our children have.
Right.
And then you introduce this terrifying thing. And I think you can't, there's nothing scarier than caring about a character and introducing a terrifying element, and that's what makes these movies so terrifying and great. Who we meet, Laurie Strode. So it's 40 years later. Laurie, as I said, had no real support, had no real help. And PTSD is real, people. And trauma is real, and the effects of PTSD and trauma on human beings is profound.
Yeah.
And I think she did the thing that most people do. They drink too much, they bang into people, they try to do relationships. Laurie obviously had a child. That child was taken from her, because can you imagine Laurie Strode on the first day of first grade as a parent?
Right.
At the parent-teacher conference? When she raises her hand and the teacher, Miss Smith, says, yes. Hi, what's your exit strategy? I'm sorry, what? What is your exit strategy? What happens when Michael, this is clearly a woman who was dogmatic about her belief that Michael Myers would come back. So who we meet is a woman who's had her child taken from her, and she lives in complete isolation, basically, waiting for him to come back because she knows he's going to.
That is not a life. Okay. David? Would you have something for us? Oh, you want to show us something?
You guys want to see something cool? So, when we were preparing for
this, this is
Wait,
the special. No, I'm not saying nothing.
Come on, David, give it to us.
Special stuff for them.
David, there's something you have for us.
something.
David, you have something for us.
So when we found out we were going to come to Comic-Con, and we could talk all day, but one of the things I think is important to try to get across the essence of the movie. So we asked the greatest minds of the creative and intellectual communities on Earth to put together a slideshow, a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
And we're just going to show you a bunch of cool stuff.
All right, so we're going to do that right now. I don't have anything in me right now. I've been depleted with fear. Let's go to you, sir.
Hi, my name's Joseph, and I want to ask a question for Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
First of all, I'm just really grateful for the movie Halloween, because 34 years ago it saved my life. I was in a situation where someone had cut the phone wires and a guy was running around with a knife. I was scared out of my mind, and out of nowhere this thought inside of me went, well, what would Jamie Lee Curtis do? Our dog Duchess bit up these knitting needles, and so I grabbed them out of the trash, and I saw the guy with the knife on one side of the house. I ran out, ran down to the neighbors, started screaming like you did in the movie, and the guys, I said, well, what's in your hand? I said, they're just knitting needles, and they said, no, with those knitting needles, we're not going to let you in our house. But to make a long story short, I'm here today because of the way that you portrayed Laurie Strode. I'm a victor today instead of a victim.
Wow.
Just like those people that you were talking about. Wow. And I never thought I could. You're the only reason I came to Comic-Con this year.
Told y'all we were having church up in here today. Saved, redeemed. Oh, it's so beautiful. Jamie Lee Curtis, I love you. Sweet that is.
It's emotional, so. Is it? I don't think so. I'm not falling for that shit. Sorry. Your heart was bastard. No, I'm pretty sure he was going to come with pop.
Doing selfies. Listen, sometimes selfies heal too. So just know that. That was beautiful. We can line up the next questioner because I know we can get a couple more in, but I'm so happy we were all here to see that beautiful moment. That's a hard, listen, you better come with something. Listen, your baby was born on Halloween, something. Give us something. What you got?
Nothing really.
What's your question?
I just have a question for you, David. I know you're a fantastic comedy director. I just wanted to know what elements of comedy you're bringing to Halloween, if any.
We're playing it very straight, taking it very seriously, honoring the first Halloween in every way. But there's some tension breakers in there. Yeah, just trying to play within the reality of it, and there's not jokes and there's not set up payoff kind of things, but there's some funny characters you'll meet around on Halloween night.
Awesome. Hello.
Huh?
Hey, my question's for Jamie.
Okay.
After 40 years, how easy was it to transition back into the role of Glory?
Where are you from?
Scotland.
Yes.
You've come a long way. Welcome. You know, the gentleman that spoke earlier, you see that kind of emotion is real. You see, these are movies, and we're all, you know, we love to come to a movie and get scared, and it's all exciting. But you see, it all has to be based, as an actor, as a director, as a writer, as a producer, it has to be based in a reality and something you can believe in. And his state of being, that amount of emotion Laurie Strode has been carrying for all these years. Now, all these years, I am 40 years older. I've raised 2 children. I've survived my husband and I for 34 years, and I have lost all of my adult family, parents, friends, and the reality of life is what makes stepping into a role 40 years later so easy, because it's just emotion and human feelings. And that connection just now is the evidence of all that. We can all have a good time and everything, but it has to be rooted in something. And I think that's why Laurie Strode has remained a beautiful person for people, because she's the same girl 40 years later. She's just been through a heck of a lot, like we all have. You peel the onion of any person in this room, you will find trauma, you will find issues of sadness and loss and grief and great joy and happiness and drunkenness and, you know, misbehavior and all the rest of it. But it's human interaction, and I think that's what makes going to the movies so powerful, is we look up there, we relate, and then we let out all of the anxiety that we're all carrying, because I think we're all carrying a lot of anxiety right now in the universe. Yeah. I'm not saying nothing about politics.
There's another drop the mic moment, courtesy of Jamie Lee Curtis. We have time for one more question. You guys are going to tag team and give it to us.
We both want to know if you guys still go trick-or-treating at Halloween.
Down the line. If we both still trick-or-treat?
You still trick-or-treat?
No, I have a tradition in Halloween. We don't have a Christmas party at Blumhouse. We have a Halloween party, of course, and I always dress up as a woman, and I would plan to continue that tradition this October. But I don't trick or treat in my female outfit.
Yes, of course, definitely tricks and treats, and every Halloween for sure.
Yeah, me too. I trick or treat. I like the Reese's peanut butter cups.
I don't. Because I am my own Halloween costume.
You are.
And
yeah, exactly.
I can just be home and be with myself. Nobody comes where I live. Nobody comes. I put candy out. I'm a really good person. I put bowls of candy out. No one ever comes. So I just look in the mirror, smile, play the theme song, watch the movie. And I will tell you,
It's Halloween every day for you.
Say what now? I will tell you, since we're about to leave, Halloween is the greatest job, character. Laurie Strode is the greatest part I will ever get to play. And the idea that as I am kissing 60 years old, that when I was 19 years old, on the streets of Los Angeles and Pasadena, we made this little movie with Mustafa Akkad, Malek's father. And now, 40 years later, we're at Comic-Con announcing a new movie in 2018. It is mind-blowing, and I am privileged beyond that.
I think that is the perfect way to end this wonderful talking with you. I hope you enjoy. Yes, hope you enjoyed our Universal Hour. Please remember that Halloween will be in theaters October 9th.